Let me show you how the B-Swap CRX is doing. Not good. I went on vacation and I came back home and there's a big puddle of coolant under the car. And I was like, oh man, what is it? And it seems to be coming from the VTEC solenoid. At first I was confused because I was like, I thought just oil went to that. But I looked up online and it looks like that has coolant going to it as well. So hopefully that's the leak. As you can see, it's actually coolant leaking, maybe coolant and oil. And it's coming from right up there, right at the bottom of the VTEC solenoid. So at first I was confused because I was like, man, it's coming from above. What could it be? So I'm gonna take that off and hopefully that's it. Got a new gasket and it should be good to go. And then after that, I got new engine mounts. So I got these hasport mounts because the mounts that I currently have really vibrate a ton. And these are the street ones from hasport. And I decided to just get brand new and get the street ones because I hate vibrations. So I ordered some and they took like 3 weeks to get here, but they're finally here. So I'm gonna put those in as well. And after I put the engine mounts in, if I still have time, I'm gonna put the factory suspension back on. These coilovers, the front, if you saw in my videos, they're maxed out. Like there's no preload on the spring or anything. They're all the way down, they're maxed out, and this is the wheel gap I have because they're meant for like EG, EK, and the EFs just ride really high from factory. Those ones ride a little bit lower. So these just ride terrible and they're bumpy and I don't like it. The rear, you can adjust it a lot more, but I wanted to match the front. I took it for a ride the other day and I hate how it feels. So I'm gonna swap the factory ones in and then I believe I'm either gonna go with the Skunk 2 adjustable ones or BC Racing. So I'm gonna read up on them a little more and then decide and order them. All right, so it looks like no coolant goes to the VTEC solenoid. It looks like the line to the heater core might be leaking. So I'm gonna get a coolant pressure test gauge and I'll pressure test the system and see where it's coming from. All right, so here's my old seal. And as you can see, it's just really hard. So I'm picking it out. Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad seal. There we go. The old screen is pretty clear, but it needs to be replaced anyways. Here's the new seal, nice and rubbery. I always put some grease on there. This time I put silicone lubricant. It just depends on what I have available. Then make sure the screen pops in and it all fits. And then now it protrudes, so it'll definitely seal. So I got it back on there. For these bolts, I just tighten them down just until they're snug and then give them a little extra because the torque spec's so low. So you don't want to snap them. I'm gonna do the top bolts now and replace the gasket in between there. And then that'll be done so we can get to the engine mounts. That's all back together. I'll monitor the coolant leak and I'll give you guys an update when I find it. I drove it the other day and got it up to temp and everything and it did not leak out. So this just leaked out when it was sitting. So it's weird, but we'll figure it out. And now for the brand new engine mounts. All right, so the rear mount's out. Here's the old, here's the new. The bushing itself, the rubber, it feels a lot harder than the hasport one. So I'm hoping this really dials down the vibrations. I'm gonna sell these. They're for a B series in a CRX or in an EF cable transmission. I'll put the brand on the screen if I can find out which one they are. I forget which ones they are. But yeah, if anybody's interested, let me know. Got these now. And there is no room up top to pull the rear mount out. So what I did was the 4 bolts for the subframe, I lowered them about 1 inch or 2 and then I was able to spin the T-bracket a little bit, and I had to undo the bolts for the rear bracket, or the rear mount. So I was able to spin it with the T-bracket, and then I pulled it out of the T-bracket. Now I'm gonna put this one in and reinstall the same way. You can see down there the rear mount's in now. That one, it wasn't too bad. I was annoyed at first, but once I lowered the subframe, it was pretty easy. I was reading online, and a lot of people pulled their engine to do that rear mount and stuff, so that definitely saved me some time, just lowering the subframe like 2 inches. So now I'm going to take out the subframe bolts one by one, add anti-seize because I might as well, so they never get seized in the body. And then I'm gonna put them in, and I'll do the transmission mount. And then last but not least will be the easiest mount right here. All right, transmission mount's out. I just had to move the battery tray. And I noticed that the hasport kit, as you can see, it actually moves the mounting point back. So I'm curious to see how the engine's gonna sit versus this old one. Transmission side's all in. I'm waiting to do until I do all of them, and then I'll lift the engine and transmission together and then torque those bolts down. Same in the back. And also new negative wires in, negative terminal, I guess. So now just this side, this is the easiest one. And if you're doing this at home, make sure to put a block on your oil pan so it doesn't dent it in. All right, now all the mounts are torqued down, battery's back in place, intake's on, everything's torqued down. So now I'm gonna go start it, and I'll see how these mounts are. Hopefully they're better. I can tell right off the bat, it's a lot less vibrating. I wish I had a clip of the before mounts. I'll see if I do. But yeah, this is a whole lot better. So here's the factory suspension. None of them are leaking. Maybe this one, now that I look at it. But it'll be better than the ones that are on there. These rode decent. I replaced the rears. These were actually $4 on Rock Auto. So I replaced those when I first got the car. And yeah, it's been like a year on them and they held up. So for $8 plus shipping, can't complain. So I'm gonna throw those on now, and I'll let you guys know how it sits. All right, now it's back to stock ride height, unfortunately, but once I get coilovers, it's gonna be a whole lot better. It's the next morning. Here's a cold start with the new mounts. It's a little rattly, but nothing compared to what it was. It's definitely a big change. This is the main source of my rattles. It's got a million screws in it. So I emptied that out now. And now, I don't know if you can hear it, but this needs to be tightened down more. And then that's really it. Alright, I got it all back together now, but I added some sound deadening foam. I added some inside here so it pushes up on the center console part, so it'll hold it in place better. And I added some to the sides, and that seemed to fix the vibrations there, or the rattling. So now I'm gonna do the whole trunk area to try to get road noise away. I scrubbed the back for about 1 minute with some soapy water. This is how it came out. Now I'm gonna cover it in foam and hope for the best. I got the trunk pretty well done. I guess I have a few little holes. Now I'm gonna remove the box, the like storage compartment, and I'm gonna do all under there too. And then I'll drive it and see if it makes a difference. Hopefully. And if it makes a difference, I'll probably one day I'll pull the seats and then pull the carpet out and do under the carpet. All right, so now I got all this area done and all the trunk space done. So if it's gonna make a difference, it should. So we'll do a date test, which means I take camera woman on a date, and if she complains less about the noise, then it passes. But if she complains about the noise still, then it's back to the drawing board. So I'll check in with you guys when we have some results. So here we are in the car, and I don't really notice a difference. So far, no difference. I guess if you guys have any suggestions for cabin noise, leave them in the comments, because I'm trying to make this a nice daily driver, nice comfortable daily driver. So let me know. But the mounts, they did change a whole lot, because before it used to like rattle your brains out, but now it's just like it was when it had the stock B series in it. So I'm definitely excited that I did those mounts. That was a big change. Means I go. Here we go. This thing's pretty quick. The battery light does come on at high RPMs. Either the belt's slipping, or I think this AutoZone alternator is not meant for 8,000 RPMs. So I'll have to figure that out. So I've been driving for a few days, and it has not leaked any more coolant. So I don't know. Next time it leaks coolant, hopefully I'll be able to fix that. The only issues with the car now, the vibrations, I'm not even going to count as a real issue, because that's just personal preference. But the only issue with the car is sometimes at idle, it like goes up and down. I might need to bleed the cooling system a little more, or it might have a vacuum leak. But besides that, the car's been running and driving great. I put like 2,000 miles on it with really no issues. I also plan on buffing the whole car, besides the roof, of course, but buffing the rest of the car and shining it up. I rarely wash it, so it's always dirty, but it'll look a lot nicer once I actually wash it and then give it a decent buff. I have another tail light because this one's cracked, but yeah, it just really needs a thorough cleaning on the outside to be lower, and that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching. It'll probably be a little bit until I put another video up on the CRX, but hopefully in that video it'll be some new coilovers. The cam cap gasket is leaking.